Hello everyone. Let us understand a non-banking financial company. Now this presentation is a quick guide on what is a non-banking financial company, what is the difference between a bank and a non-banking financial company, what are the types of non-banking financial company, then we move on to some important concepts, regulations which are applicable to a non-banking financial company. What is a non-banking financial company? So, a non-banking financial company is a company which is registered under the Companies Act 1956 or the Companies Act 2013 or any other act prevailing before the Companies Act 1956 and carrying business of financial institution. Now, what do we mean by the term financial institution? So, the term financial institution has been defined under Section 45 IC of the RBI Act, which states that non-banking institution which carries on its business or part of its business any of the following activities such as loans and advances, acquisition of shares, stocks, bonds, debentures or any other securities, hire purchase, insurance business, check business and money circulation scheme. Now, what has not been included in the definition has been excluded from the definition. So, if the company carries on its activity such as agricultural operations, industrial activity, purchase or sale of any goods, or provide any services, then the company will not be treated as a non banking financial company.
Now, what is the test for determining a non banking financial company? So, now how do we identify whether the company is a non banking financial company or not? So, RBI wide its press release dated 8th of April 1999 laid down the criteria for determining the principality of business, which is very popularly known as 50-50 principal business criteria, wherein it states that the financial assets of the company need to be more than 50% of the total assets, and the income from such financial assets need to be more than 50% of the gross income. Now, both the conditions need to be satisfied for the company to be known as a non banking financial company. If either of the condition does not satisfy, then the company will not be treated as a non banking financial company, and both the conditions need to be satisfied as per the last audited balance sheet of the company. Now, based on the press release dated 8th of April 1999, RBI insisted NBFCs to obtain an annual certificate from the auditor stating that the company is continuing to carry on its business as a non-banking financial company. This circular was issued by an RBI on 18th of October 2006.
Now we know what is a non-banking financial company and what are the features of a non-banking financial company. So the features of a non-banking financial company are very similar to that of a bank. So now what is the major difference between a bank and a non-banking financial companies? So NBFCs cannot accept demand deposit. NBFCs do not form part of payment and settlement system. That is, they cannot issue check from itself. Deposit insurance facility of Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation is not available to depositors of NBFCs. What is the requirement for getting an NBFC registered with an RBI and what is the net owned fund which is an NOF requirement? So Section 45IA of the RBI Act states that no non-banking financial company shall commence or carry on the business of non-banking financial institution without obtaining a valid certificate of registration and need to have a net owned fund of rupees 2 crore. Earlier it was rupees 25 lakh, which was then increased to rupees 2 crores through a circular issued by RBI in April 1999. However, as per the revised regulatory framework, if an NBFC is having a net owned fund of less than rupees 2 crores, then such companies need to increase their net owned fund in the following manner, that is rupees 100 lakh or 1 crore before 1st of April 2016 and rupees 200 lakh or 2 crores before 1st of April 2017. So by 1st of April 2017, each and every NBFC registered with RBI need to have a minimum net owned fund of rupees 2 crores. Now there are certain class of NBFCs which has been exempted by Reserve Bank of India. That is, the Reserve Bank of India does not regulate such type of NBFC. They are regulated by some other regulator. Now, which are these companies? Merchant banking or stockbroking companies are regulated by SEBI, which is Securities and Exchange Board of India. There's an insurance company which is regulated by IRDA. Media companies are regulated under the Companies Act 1956 or the Companies Act 2013. Housing finance companies are regulated by NHB, that is National Housing Bank. We move on to types of NBFCs.
So an NBFC can be categorized in three different types based on the liability, based on the size, and based on the activity. Based on the liability, an NBFC can either be a deposit accepting or a non deposit accepting non banking financial company. Based on the size, it can either be a systemically important NBFC or it can be a non systemically important NBFC. Now, what do we mean by the term systemically important? So, the term systemically important means a company which has the total asset size of rupees 500 crores or more. Based on the activities, can be a asset finance company, which is an AFC, investment company, loan company, infrastructure finance company, systemically important core investment company, infrastructure debt fund, microfinance institution, factors, mortgage guarantee company, non operative financial holding company. NOFHC has been newly introduced by RBI. Now, how do we determine the type of a non banking financial company? So, an asset finance company. For a company to be known as an asset finance company, the principal business of such a company need to be financing of physical asset supporting productive or economic activity such as automobiles, tractors, generator set, earth moving, etc. Example of asset finance company are Magma FinCorp Limited, Shrey Equipment Finance Limited. Loan company. So the principal business of such a company need to be by making loans or advances or otherwise for any other activity other than its own, which does not include an asset finance company. Since asset finance company has been differently categorized, it shall not be included in the loan company. Example of loan companies are Fullerton India Credit Company Limited, India Infoline Finance Limited, etc. Investment company. The principal business of an investment company need to be acquisition of securities. Example of such type of company is Tata Investment Corporation Limited. Infrastructure Finance Company IFC. The name itself suggests that the company need to finance towards the infrastructure sector. Now this company need to deploy at least 75% of the total assets into infrastructure loan. They need to have the minimum net owned fund of rupees 300 crores, minimum credit rating of A or equivalent, and a CRAR, which is capital risk adequacy ratio of 15%. CRAR will study in detail. Example of infrastructure finance company are L&T Infrastructure Finance Company Limited, IDFC Limited. We move on to Infrastructure Debt Fund, IDF. Infrastructure debt fund facilitates the flow of long-term debt into infrastructure projects. Now, only infrastructure finance company, which is an IFC, can sponsor IDFs, that is infrastructure debt fund. IDF can raise resources through issue of rupee or dollar denominated bonds with a minimum maturity of 5 years. Now, an IDF can be set up either as a trust or as a company. If it is a trust, then it will be regulated by SEBI as a mutual fund company. And if it is a company, then it will be regulated by RBI as a non banking financial company. As on 30th June 2015, only three companies are registered with RBI as an IDF, that is Infrastructure Debt Fund. They are India Infra Debt Limited, L&T Infra Debt Fund Limited, IDFC Infra Debt Fund Limited. Systemically important core investment company. The principal business of such a company is acquisition of shares and security of the group company. The criteria for such a company is that they need to hold 90% of the total assets in equity shares, ref shares, debt, or loan of its group company. They need to invest 60% of its total asset in the equity shares of the group company. They do not trade in the investment in shares, debt, or loan in group company except through block sale. That is for the purpose of dilution or disinvestment. They do not carry any financial activities referred in Section 45 IC and Section 45 IF of RBI Act, except investment in bank deposit, money market instrument, etc. The asset size of systemically important core investment company need to be 100 crores or above. Now, if the company is accepting public fund, then the company is not required to get itself registered with RBI. However, if the company is accepting public deposit, then the company need to get itself registered with RBI. For example, Tata Capital Limited. Microfinance institutions. A non-deposit accepting non-banking financial company need to have 85% of its asset in the nature of qualifying assets. What do we mean by the term qualifying assets? So the qualifying asset means the loans which satisfies the criteria. Loan disbursed by a MFI to a borrower with a rural household annual income not exceeding rupees 1 lakh or urban and semi-urban household income not exceeding 1.6 lakh. Loan amount shall not exceed 60,000 in the first cycle and rupees 1 lakh in the subsequent cycle. The total indebtedness of the borrower does not exceed 1 lakh. The tenure of the loan shall not be less than 24 months for loan amount in excess of rupees 15,000 with the prepayment without penalty. Loan need to be extended without any collateral being accepted by the company. Aggregate amount of loan given for income generation shall not be less than 50% of the total loans given by the MFI. Loan need to be repayable on weekly, fortnightly or monthly installment on depending on the choice of the borrower. This company need to have the minimum net own fund of rupees 5 crore. However, if the company is registered in northeastern region, then the company can have a minimum net own fund of rupees 2 crores. Example of MFIs is NABARD Financial Service Private Limited, Asmita Microfin Limited, etc. NBFCs which does not qualify as a MFI shall not extend loan to microfinance sector in aggregate exceeding 10% of the total assets. Factors. Such a type of company is engaged in the business of factoring. What do we mean by the term factoring? So the factoring has been defined in the Factoring Act 2011 to mean a business of acquisition of receivables of assigner by accepting assignments of such receivables or financing whether by way of loans or advances or otherwise, against security interest of any receivable. The financial asset need to be at least 50% of the total asset, and the income from such a business need to be 50% of the gross income. Examples of factors are SEBI Global Factors Limited, India Factoring and Finance Solutions Private Limited. We move on to mortgage guarantee companies. A mortgage guarantee company need to have 90% of the business turnover through mortgage guarantee business, or at least 90% of its gross income need to be from mortgage guarantee business. Now, either of the conditions satisfy, the company will be treated as a mortgage guarantee company. They need to have the minimum net owned fund of rupees 100 crores. Examples of mortgage guarantee company is India Mortgage Guarantee Corporation. Non-operative financial holding company, which is NOFHC. It is a financial institution through which a promoter or promoter group will be permitted to set up a new bank. It is a wholly owned company which will hold bank as well as financial service companies. We move on to some important concepts. Asset classification. So an asset can be classified in four different categories, that is standard asset, substandard asset, doubtful asset, and loss asset. Standard asset means an asset where there is no default in repayment of principal or interest amount. Substandard asset means an asset which has been classified as a non-performing asset for a period of not exceeding 18 months. Non-performing asset means an asset or term loan or demand or call loan or bill which remain overdue for a period of 6 months or more. Lease rentals and hire purchase installments which has become overdue for a period of 12 months or more. We move on to doubtful assets. Asset remaining substandard for a period exceeding 18 months or such shorter period will be treated as a doubtful asset. Loss asset. Loss assets are usually identified by the company or internal or external auditors or either by an RBI. For substandard asset and doubtful asset, the period not exceeding 18 months shall be substituted by not exceeding 16 months for the financial year ending March 2016, not exceeding 14 months for the financial year ending March 2017, not exceeding 12 months for the financial year ending March 2018. Capital Risk Adequacy Ratio, which is CRAR, a systemically important non-deposit accepting non-banking financial company, a deposit accepting non-banking financial company, a microfinance institution, and a infrastructure finance company need to have a minimum CRAR of 15%. How is CRAR, that is Capital Risk Adequacy Ratio, calculated? So it is Tier 1 plus Tier 2 capital divided by aggregate risk weighted assets. Now, the total Tier 1 capital at any point of time shall not be less than 8.5% by March 2016 and 10% by March 2017. The For a microfinance institution, the total Tier 2 capital at any point of time shall not exceed 100% of the Tier 1 capital. And the non-banking financial company which are primarily engaged in lending against gold jewelry shall maintain a minimum tier 1 capital of 12%. Tier 1 capital. Now, what do we mean by the term tier 1 capital? So, the term tier 1 capital means own fund reduced by investment in shares or other NBFCs and in shares, debentures, bonds, outstanding loans, and advances, including hire purchase and lease finance made to and deposits with subsidiaries and companies in the same group exceeding in aggregate 10% of the owned fund, and PDI, which is perpetual debt instruments issued by a non-deposit accepting non-banking financial company in each year to the extent it does not exceed 15% of the aggregate tier 1 capital of such a company. Now, what do we mean by the term owned fund? Owned fund means paid up equity capital, preference shares which are compulsorily convertible into equity, free reserve, balance in share premium account, capital reserves representing surplus arising out of sale proceeds of assets, excluding reserves created by revaluation of asset reduced by accumulated loss balance, book value of intangible asset, deferred revenue expenditures. Tier 2 capital. Tier 2 capital includes preference shares other than those which are compulsorily convertible into equity. If the pref shares are compulsorily converted into equity, then such pref shares will qualify under Tier 1 capital. Revaluation reserve, general provisions, and loss reserves to the extent these are not attributable to actual diminution in value. Hybrid debt capital instrument, subordinated debt, PDIs, that is perpetual debt instrument issued by a non-deposit accepting non-banking financial company, which is in excess of what qualifies for Tier 1 capital to the extent aggregate does not exceed Tier 1 capital. That is up till 15%, it will qualify under Tier 1 capital. If it is in excess of 15%, then the remaining portion will qualify as an Tier 2 capital. Risk weighted assets. What do we mean by risk weighted assets? So, the degree of capital risk expressed as a percentage weightage have been assigned to the balance sheet assets as per the prudential norms. Cash and bank balance FDs are 0% risk weighted. Intercorporate loans and deposit are 100%. Loan to staff is 0%. Fixed assets are 100%, and so on. Risk weighted asset is equal to the value of each asset or item multiplied by the relevant risk weight assigned to them. For off balance sheet items, the notional amount of the transaction is converted into the credit equivalent amount, which is credit equivalent amount multiplied by the risk weights applicable to them. Now we know what is tier 1 capital, tier 2 capital, and risk weighted assets. So CRAR, that is capital risk adequacy ratio, will be calculated as in tier 1 capital plus tier 2 capital divided by aggregate of risk weighted assets. This should be equal to 15%. That is, non-banking financial company need to maintain at least 15% as a CRAR. We move on to leverage ratios. What do we mean by leverage ratio? So leverage ratio mean the total outside liability divided by the owned fund. Leverage ratio at any point of time shall not be more than 7 times with effect from 27th of March 2050. What do you mean by the term outside liability? So the term outside liability means total liability as appearing in the liability side of the balance sheet, excluding paid up capital, reserves and surplus. Instrument compulsorily convertible into equity shares within a period not exceeding 5 years from the date of issue. This does not include any form of debt and obligation having the characteristic of debt, whether created by issue of hybrid instrument or otherwise, and any value of guarantee issued, whether appearing on the balance sheet or not. So, if the company has issued any guarantee, then such will also be treated as an outside liability. Now, what are the applicable regulations to a non banking financial company? So the regulations applicable to non-banking financial companies are the first one is the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. This act is applicable to each and every type of NBFC. Then we move on to non-banking financial deposit accepting or holding company prudential norm Reserve Bank Directions 2007. These regulations or these directions are applicable only to deposit taking non-banking financial company. Non-banking financial company accepting of public deposit Reserve Bank Directions 1998. This is applicable to all the types of NBFCs. Systemically important non-banking financial non-deposit accepting or holding companies prudential norm directions 2015 is applicable to a systemically important non-deposit accepting non-banking financial companies. Non-systemically important non-banking financial non-deposit accepting companies prudential norm direction 2015 is applicable to a non-systemically important non-deposit accepting non-banking financial companies. There are some miscellaneous non-banking companies Reserve Bank Directions 1977 which is applicable to all type of NBFCs. Non-banking financial company corporate governance Reserve Bank Directions 2015 is applicable for all type of NBFCs. Under this corporate governance directions, there are four things which need to be kept in mind. First one is formation of committees, which is audit committee, nomination committee, risk committee, and an ALCO committee. ALCO committee previously was the committee of management. However, with the new directions, the ALCO committee need to be the committee of board. ALCO means an asset liability management committee. Secondly, the fit and proper criteria need to be determined by the company. Company need to formulate a fit and proper policy. Then an evaluation need to be done on the basis of which a director need to be evaluated. We move on to miscellaneous instructions to all non-banking financial companies. Now these instructions are applicable to all type of non-banking financial companies. Then we move on to miscellaneous instructions to non-banking financial company, non-deposit accepting systemically important companies. These directions are also applicable to all types of non-banking financial company auditors report directions 2008, which is applicable to all types of NBFCs, wherein the company need to place a report before the board, wherein this report need to be given by the auditor of the company, which need to state that the company is continuing to carry on its business as a non-banking financial company and has complied with all the directions, prudential norms and regulations specified by RBI from time to time. Fraud future approach towards monitoring of frauds in NBFCs. This regulation is applicable to deposit accepting non-banking financial company and systemically important non-deposit accepting non-banking financial company, which state that company need to file three returns with Reserve Bank of India, that is FMR1 at the time of detection of fraud. FMR2 and FMR3 are quarterly reporting which need to be done with RBI. Fair practice code is applicable to all types of NBFCs, wherein the company need to place a code on the website of the company which need to state the details of the GRO, that is grievance redressal officer, along with its email ID. Such detail also need to be placed at all the branches. The interest rate model need to be adopted by the company. The repossession clause need to be incorporated in the loan agreement as specified under the Fair Practice Code. KYC guidelines, that is Anti-Money Laundering Standards, Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, which is applicable to all types of NBFCs, wherein these guidelines state that the company need to allot a unique customer identification code, which is UCIC, to all its customer, existing and new customers. The company need to appoint a designated director. The company need to place a KYC policy and a customer acceptance policy. Return to be filed by NBFC is applicable to all types of NBFC. Raising money through private placement of non-banking financial. This regulation has been issued on February 20th, 2015, which states that company can issue non-convertible debentures with maximum subscription of less than rupees 1 crore and a minimum subscription of rupees 1 crore and above. For minimum subscription of rupees 1 crore and above, there is no limit on the number of subscriber. However, the limit of 200 subscriber exists on maximum subscription of less than 1 crore. The option to create security in favor of subscriber is at the option of issuer in case of minimum subscription of rupees 1 crore and above. Rounding of transaction to the nearest rupee by NBFCs is applicable to all types of NBFC. Early recognition of financial distress prompts steps for resolution and fair recovery for lender is applicable to all types of NBFC wherein the company need to report the SMA, that is special mention account, to reporting to CRILIC. Requirement for obtaining prior approval of RBI in case of acquisition or transfer of control of NBFC, which is applicable to all types of NBFC, wherein it specifies four conditions, of which one condition states that if there is any change in the board of the company which amounts to 30% of the change, then the company need to obtain the prior approval of Reserve Bank of India.